Ascension 0, just a standard defect run. And we're going to click the blue embark button and go on our adventure. So, Slay the Spire is a roguelike card game where you pick your battles on a map and win or lose to enemies by playing cards against them in a turn-based combat system. So, whenever you start a run, you will be given a starter deck of cards, usually containing 10 to 11 cards. For every character in the game, you will start with 4 strikes and 4 defense. Each card can be upgraded as well at a campfire and will have unique upgrades per card. So, our deck right now is 4 strikes, 4 defense, a zap, and a dual cast. Now, the strikes and defense are on every character, but this card right here is unique to defect. Defect deals damage through orb manipulation. That's orb manipulation. And plays with various types of orbs. One of the orbs that defect has is a lightning orb. A lightning orb. And instead of me sitting here at the big screen trying to talk to you about what each card does, I think it would be a little easier if we just got going and played the game to make you understand how it works. So, let's begin here by talking to our whale friend, and we get to choose a starting modifier for our run. So, we can either transform a card, which is taking one of our cards in our deck and making it into another random card. We can obtain 3 random potions, which would fill up our potion slot towards the top. We could lose 7 max HP, and we would gain 250 gold, or we can lose our starting relic and obtain a random boss relic. So, these options down here aren't necessarily bad, even though we're losing things. But I think today we're just going to play it a little safe, and we're just going to grab the 3 potions to make the gameplay a little simpler for you guys. So, we're going to take that reward, and right here is our potions. So there are many different types of potions in this game. And right here we have 3 of them. So first we have the flex potion. The flex potion, which gains us 5 strength, and at the end of our turn we lose 5 strength. Strength adds additional damage to our attacks. We also have a skill potion. A skill potion, which allows us to choose is the legend for the map. The legend explains what each of the icons means on the path that you can choose to get to the boss, which is the spectral ghost. So, you can go to question marks, which are events, merchants, which are shops, treasure, which is a relic, like our starting relic over here, a campfire, which allows you to heal HP or upgrade a card. You can also, or the other icons are enemies per usual. There's a lot of enemies per floor. And then there are elite enemies, which are significantly tougher enemies that drop a relic as a reward. So, for today's gameplay, I think we're going to choose the right path over here. Now, in Slay the Spire as well, you can only pick one path to start on, and that is the path that you are locked into. So, if I were to start over here, I really can't get over here, but I can deviate to over here because the little trail marks allow me to do so. So I couldn't cut over to this area necessarily, but I could take this path and go this way, and then I could deviate a little bit, and I could end up on this path at a later point. That's why I enjoy Slay the Spire a lot, because besides the deck building aspect, it's quite the roguelike. So, we're going to start here, and I'm going to show you guys the combat. So, after a little game audio, we have two little bug boys here, and Slay the Spire has no active turn timer. There is no incentive to go fast. We can take everything as slow as we want. So, let me explain to you what the enemies are doing first. So first off, each enemy has an HP bar displayed down here, which details their max HP. For instance, this one has a max HP of 15 out of 15, and this one 14 out of 14. In Slay the Spire, you are allowed to take your whole turn first, and then the enemies will take their turn afterwards. So, in this case, this enemy, what this symbol means right here, is he's going to try to attack us for 5 damage. And this one, this symbol means that he's going to try to inflict a negative status effect on us. So when we click the end turn button, the enemies will do their attacks. Now, during our turn, we only have a certain amount of energy or mana if you played Hearthstone or Magic the Gathering. And this is the amount of energy that we can spend in one turn to try to deal with what the enemies are doing and to make sure we can try to stay alive. So, this enemy is hitting us for 5 damage, and our defend reads gain 5 block. Block is essentially a buffer to your HP that you can stack using cards. So if I play this defend here, and I'm going to, I have now gained 5 block, and this attack will be negated. Now, I could block again, but blocking again wouldn't do anything as I'm only taking 5 damage. Now, the effect 6 damage. But when these enemies first get attacked, they gain 5 luck. So, it is better to attack both of them rather than to attack into one, because they will gain armor which they will lose at the end of their turn. Just like how if I were to stack any more defense, you lose all of your unspent defense at the end of the turn, and that works for you and for the enemies, unless you have a special card that prevents that. So we're going to click the end turn button here, and we're going to discard our hand and draw 5 new cards from our deck. Our lightning orb is also going to channel. Okay, so this time we drew some unique defect cards. So the enemies are attacking us for 10 damage total. So what we're going to do is we're going to dual cast this orb, most likely, which evokes it. So evoking an orb will do its call effect, and when a lightning orb is evoked, it deals 8 damage instead of the normal 3 at the end of the turn, and this 8 damage will be dealt immediately and not at the end. So since we're dual casting this orb, this 8 damage will trigger twice. So let's give that a go. So there you go, one of the enemies has died from that card. And then let me just explain to you what Zap does, so if I use it in the future, you guys will understand. So Zap is a skill card which channels 1 lightning. Now, if you want to look at dual cast, see that keyword there? Evoke, evoke, evoke. Evoke means you trigger the effect of the orb and consume it. That means that that lightning orb that we generated due to our artifact is now gone, and we have to regenerate another one. So we can channel a lightning orb here, or we could just hit him, but I'm gonna let the lightning kill him for funsies. And if we weren't able to kill them this turn, it would be good practice to defend. But in the case in which we're killing him, we're just gonna click the end turn button, and the lightning's gonna do its job. So after the first fight, you get spoils, 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 and usually it's some gold in a card. This is actually guaranteed per every fight that you win, and sometimes you'll get a random potion or artifact depending on the difficulty of your boss. So you can always take the gold, unless there's some reason for you not to do that, but I've never really encountered one. And then you get to choose a card to add to your deck. This happens every time you win a fight on the map, so anytime you encounter an enemy, and it could happen at event squares as well. So we have 3 cards here to choose from. We have a 0 mana card called Claw, which reads, deal 3 damage and increase the damage of all Claw cards by 2 this combat. This card, it's okay, it's not bad. We also have another 0 mana card called Turbo. Turbo is a skill which gains us 2 energy and adds a void card into our discard pile. This void card is unplayable and is ethereal, which means at the end of your turn, it is not discarded from your deck, but exhausted from your deck, which means it goes completely out. So you would play this Turbo card, you would add a void to your deck, and when you drew that void, you would lose 1 mana, but when you ended your turn, that void would no longer be in your deck. And that's how this card works. It's kind of an investment in energy when you need it for a hit later in terms of your energy gain. And then finally we have Cool Headed, which is a 1 mana skill which channels 1 frost orb and draws 1 card. So a frost orb gains you passive block at the end of your turn, and when evoked will give you more block. And this card also draws a card. So out of these 3 cards, I think Cool Headed is the best one. Turbo is not bad, and it's a little too early for Claw, and this is more of a late game card when you need the mana. So we're gonna go with the safe You find a folded note and a card inside. It reads, "The heart awaits." This is your handwriting. You have two options: take and give, receive Iron Wave, and store a card, or we can ignore this note. Now our deck right now is 4 strikes, 4 defense, a zap, a dual cast, and cool-headed. I would have to give up one of those cards for Iron Wave, which is a 1 energy card that gains us 5 block and deals 5 damage. So, I think for now, in the theme of trying to keep a deck defect, we're gonna ignore the card and just move on. And what is going on? I don't know. We're just gonna leave. Okay, so we're gonna go hit a normal combat again. And here we are, we're up against an enemy, and this guy, he's gonna buff himself. That's what this blue little fire symbol means. So, we can start by taking our turn in a way where we don't have to defend at all, because when there's no sword here, there's no point to block usually. It's better to just use your attacks against an enemy and then float your mana, and floating your mana means not wasting it on playing 3 defense here and not getting any damage. So we're just gonna strike him, which is deal 6 damage. And then we're gonna dual cast our lightning orb here that we generated for 16 damage. And now the enemy is at 26 HP out of 48, and there's no reason to defend here, so we're just gonna hit the enter button, and he's gonna buff himself. Alright, so he buffed himself with a ritual, which is at the end of its turn, he's gonna gain 3 strength. So whenever we hit the end turn button, he's gonna gain 3 strength, and right now he's attacking us for 6 damage, so we wanna try to block that damage. So we're gonna start by probably cool-headed here. We're just gonna channel a frost orb, which is gonna gain us some extra block, and we're gonna draw a card from this, and it's only for 1 mana. Really good card. So we're gonna play it. And immediately, so here I can now explain to you and visually explain to you what a frost orb is. And a frost orb is a passive that at the end of your turn gains you 2 block, and when you evoke it, you gain 5. So just like a lightning orb that deals 3 at the end of your turn, and when evoked deals 8, the block gains 2 passively and 5 when you evoke it, in terms of defense instead of attack. So right now we have 2 natural block coming in, so we can defend here for a full block, and then we can just attack him for some extra chip damage, and then we can end our turn, and this frost orb will save us from taking any damage. Let's see. There you go, he's gained 3 strength, and now he's attacking us for 9 damage. So I think once again we're just gonna cool-head it here, because generating frost orbs is really good against fights where you're gonna be trying to take a lot of damage. So we have a lot of defense in our hands, so we're gonna currently take 2, 4 passive block, and we can gain 5 more block by playing a defense, and then we will have perfect block. So we want to try to play other cards in our hand after we gain perfect block. So first let's gain it. And now with these frost orbs we will be at it. So now I think we'll get in once again some free chip damage, and we'll just play the zap card, which is gonna give us a lightning orb. And there you go. Now at the end of our turn we're gonna gain 4 block, 2 plus 2, and then we're gonna deal 3. So 2 block, 3 damage. Ready? And turn. 9 block, 3 damage. 9 damage comes in, fully blocked. So, in cases where the enemy is really threatening and he's dealing you a lot of damage, like in this case 12, sometimes you just have lethal, and dual casting this frost orb, might be, the instinct play where you're like, oh, I need to block because he's dealing me a lot of damage. No, you just have to count the damage in your hand, and immediately you can tell that each strike deals 6 damage, and the enemy only has 17 HP, and we have 3 mana. So by doing some math, we can determine that by playing 3 strikes, we will deal 18 damage and use all of our mana, but the enemy will be dead. So the mana is pretty much useless. So we're just gonna win this battle really quick by playing 3 strikes in a row. And he's dead. And once again, we got some gold, and this time we got a potion, which is cool. And potions are little things a 0 mana Steam Barrier, which is a skill that gains 6 block and decreases this card's block by 1 this combat. We then have Blizzard, which is a 1 mana attack card, which deals damage equal to 2 times the number of frost channeled this combat to all enemies. And then we have Overclock, which is a 0 mana skill, which draws 2 cards and adds a burn into your discard pile, which is a unplayable status card that at the end of your turn you take 2 damage. Now, I think our deck, it's not terrible for the first floor as it stands, but I don't think any of these cards are too outstanding. We don't need free block currently. We have enough block in our deck, and we only have 1 Frost Orb generation right now, so this card is dealing about 2 damage for 1 minute. So, and that's with having Cool-Headed played. Without it, it deals 0. So, I don't think we're going to be taking that. The only card that I was considering was Overclock, and Overclock is just a draw 2. But I think that in this case we're a bit too early for that, so I'm just going to skip here, which is a very good option in this game. So we're going to skip, and then we're going to say, I don't want any of this, and just click skip rewards. Okay. So moving right along, I think we'll take we'll follow the pattern here of monster, question mark, and we'll take an event here. And this event was combat, so events, they don't always have to be that text box like you saw before. Sometimes they can be combat or other things. So in this case it was combat. So we have a little slime here that's doing a negative debuff on us, and we have a bigger slime here that's attacking us for 8 damage and debuffing us. So to start, I think we will probably want to full block here by playing 2 defense. This is 8 damage, and we have 10 blocks, so we'll just play this. And then I think we want to try to kill the lower health target here, and hopefully that our lightning orb will hit this and kill it. So here we go. And we whiffed, but that's okay. What are you gonna do? Hopefully it'll hit it again. Maybe, I don't know. So in this case, this enemy is debuffing us, and this one's dealing 3. So I think we're going to zap here, most likely, and then well, we can Cool-Headed first, because I think I want a little bit of block with the draw and to see what we get. So dual gas is a really nice pickup, because now we can deal 16 damage on the board. So I think I'm just gonna probably send this immediately, and then we killed that small one. I mean, this big one took 8 damage, and I think in this case our strikes are only dealing 4, so I think it's better to have the lightning up. And these strikes are only dealing 4 damage because of the negative debuff that the enemies have applied to us, which is weakened, which our attacks deal 25 less damage, or 25% less damage for 1 turn. So we're going to strike the enemy here. And, oh, actually I was supposed to hit the zap, wasn't I? I guess it doesn't really matter. So he added a Slimed into our deck, which is a status card, which it's just there. You have to pay a mana to get rid of it. It just takes up a draw. It's kind of annoying. Doesn't really, do too much until there's a lot of them in your deck and you're just drawing slime and you're like, uh-oh. But I think in this case we are not weakened, and once again 18 is greater than 15, so strike, and we're done. 19 gold, and this potion, however, is probably better than the ones we have. This is called Liquid Memories. Liquid Memories, which allows us to choose a card in our discard pile and return it to our hand. It costs 0 this turn. So I think I am going to ditch the is a loss now, but a gain the more that you let it wait. And that's how dark orbs work. We also have a beam cell, which makes the enemies vulnerable, which means they take 50% more damage from attacks. And for 0 mana, we will deal 3 damage and apply 1 vulnerable, so it'll deal 3 damage, and any other attacks we deal, they'll take 50% more. And then once again, we have Blizzard here, which I already read. So I think in this case, in a normal run, I would probably either pick Beam Cell or skip, but in the sense of making good content, I'm going to pick up the Dark Orb card, because it is actually, it's not bad, it's pretty good, but I wouldn't really take it in this case, but I will show you guys what a Dark Orb is. So, we're going to pick that up, and we're going to move on to the next fight. Here we are. Okay. So this guy, he's hitting us. He's doing a pretty good job at it. He's hitting us for 13. Now in our hand, we only have 2 defense, which only adds up to 10. So in this case, we're going to have to take 3 damage unless we want to use one of our potions on this enemy, and I really don't think that's the best idea, because this is just a normal enemy. So we're just going to defend for as much block as we can, and then I'll probably, I was thinking maybe dual cast for 16 damage and just try to push, but this could be a longer term investment. I'm not really feeling the strike. I think I'll probably just dual cast and just say go, just deal him 16 and then take the 3. There you go. Alright, so let me show you guys how well actually we want to try to block here because he's dealing 8 to us and he's debuffing us. So I think we'll play the defend first, which will gain us 5 block. I think we'll play the cool-headed for 2 extra block, and then we've drawn more block, so I think we will full block this turn, even though it's a bit overkill with the Frost Orb. I think we'll just not take the damage. Okay, he's dealing 12 to us. So we could dual cast this Frost Orb for 10, and I think that's kind of a good play, but it's always good to draw in this game first, and I was thinking through my turn, and in my head I said, okay, well I could dual cast cool-headed. Now, you always want to try to draw first, so you should cool-headed, and then see what you get, and then do the rest of your play. So we're going to cool-headed here first to try to get perfect block. And then we're going to dual cast here for 10 block. And then this will give us our extra 2, and then we'll just smack him for 6 for funsies. There you go. Okay, now he's hitting us for 19, and he's at 28. So in this case, I think we're just going to try to take the full block again, so we can get up to 15, 16, 17. So once again, we'll just be taking 3 and just pass. There you go. Or actually 2. Sorry, my math is terrible. He's dealing 8 to us, so we can, so full blocking in this game, it's usually important, but some enemies, they take advantage of the fact that you like to full block, and the longer that they live, the more deadlier that they'll get. So I think in this case I could double defend and then just strike them, and I'd save some HP. But I think if I'm getting 2 block from this Frost Orb, I'm going up to 7, and he'll only deal 1 damage to me, and I can get in 12 with these 2 strikes and use the rest of my mana efficiently or energy. So I'll just hit him twice and just say I'll take the 1 damage. Okay, so now he's at 12. This card by itself deals 10 damage, so we have lethal with this strike. So I'm going to do Wing Gloom to also show you guys what the Dark Orb looks like and what its passive and evoking abilities are. So passively, like I was trying to explain earlier horribly, at the end of your turn, increase this orb's damage by 6. So each turn that it's up, that I end, this little counter down here will increase, and it will go up by 6. And that will be the damage that it will do when it is evoked. Now you can evoke an orb through a card like Dual Cast, like I've been showing you guys, or you can just bump it. So when all these slots are full, when you try to cast another orb, it will just cycle through them. So this front orb will be technically evoked, and you'll gain its effect, but only once. So we've been seeing Dual Cast because it says twice. So if a lightning orb has on the Dark Orb itself. With dual cast, obviously all those things will be doubled like I've been doing, but I just wanted to try to explain the character a little bit while we have some time. So I'm gonna kill this man. Sorry, dude. And then gain some gold and look at these cards again. Alrighty, so we have a 2-mana spell called Glacier, which gains us 7 block and channels 2 frost. We have a Sweeping Beam, a 1-mana attack, which deals 6 damage to all enemies and draws 1 card. And then we have Genetic Algorithm, which is a skill that gains us 1 block and permanently increases this card's block by 2, and then it is exhausted from our combat when we play. So, I might have not been too clear on what the exhaust keyword means, but when I play a card in my deck like a strike or a defend, it gets thrown into my discard pile, where when I reshuffle my deck by drawing all of my cards again, I will be able to play the same card twice in the same combat. With Genetic Algorithm, it is exhausted, which means it is gone from my deck the minute I play it. So this card scales the earlier you have it in your run. So by only the first time you play it, you only gain 1 block, but the next time you play it, you'll gain 3, and the next time 5 and 7 and 9, and etc. So this card is a good stacking block card to get early, but you have to put some time into it. The Sweeping Beam is a decent choice. It's good AoE, but we already have some all enemy damage in the form of Doom and Gloom, which is 10. Drawing a card is pretty nice though. Glacier here is probably the choice though. It's probably over a skip, as 7 block plus 2 frost is a really good money for 2 mana. It's nice defense for a deck, and it'll probably hold us off in terms of defense until the second floor, so we'll have to pick it up now. We're gonna go fight this combat and then probably go for some elite fights, and even a burning elite, which means it's gonna be ultra hard for no reason, because I want it to be. Lol. Okay. So we have 3 enemies here, and they are really hitting us. So they're hitting us for 7, 5, and 7. So 7 and 7 is 14, plus 5 is 19. So we are taking 19 damage as it currently stands. We have 15 block in our hand with these 3 defense, which are 5 each. However, dual cast would deal 8 damage to one of these, or 8 damage twice, randomly split among these. So there's and it doesn't trigger the Louises or Lewis. It doesn't trigger the bugs effect. So each of these, they gain block when they get hit, but when they get hit by an orb, it doesn't count as damage, and that's just game mechanics. I don't really know the background behind that, but we're gonna dual cast my orb, and now the one in the back is on 2, and the one in the front is on 8. So we're gonna strike the one in the back to kill it and prevent the 7 damage from coming in. And then we will just say that we took this front 7 and we negated this 5. Okay. positive of this is you gain 1 strength and 1 dexterity. Now strength adds just additional attack to your attacks, so a strike would be dealing more damage than usual, and dexterity adds more block to your block cards, so you would be blocking for more. And that's basically what this card does. It says, okay, I don't want to play with orbs anymore. I just want to smash things and hopefully live through my defense. Yeah, that's reprogram. And then we have Steam Barrier again, which is this 0 mana. I need defense cards. So in our case, I definitely don't need reprogram because I have so much orb generation in terms of Sap, Glacier, and Doom and Gloom, and Cool-Headed. That's 4 out of 13 cards, or actually with dual cast. Technically dual cast would be useless too if we didn't have any orbs. So 5 out of 13 cards are all orb based. So we definitely don't want reprogram here. In Steam Barrier, we are chunking in defense here. We got 4 defense, a Glacier, and a Cool-Headed. Really don't need this. So the only real pick here is Chaos, and picking Chaos is kind of like giving your run to RNG in a way, and just being like, I hope I get the right orb here. But it's an okay card. It's not the worst in the game. So for the sake of making good content, I'll pick it up. And then we're gonna click the red proceed arrow and move on to a special place in the game, the shop. So we're gonna click here and go this way. Hello, Mr. Shopman, with your cool mask, your money bag, your cards, and your dagger, and your mini chest. So we can click onto our shopkeeper here, and we can view his wares. So at the shop, we are given a selection of cards to choose from that cost various amounts of gold, depending on the rarity or if they're on sale or not. We are also given 3 artifacts to choose from if we so have the funds, and 3 potions to choose from. The special service for the merchant is the card removal service. This, for 75 gold once per shop, will allow you to remove a card from your deck that you do not want. Now, if you are new to this game, you might go, why would I ever want to remove a card in this game? It seems like the cards are so good if you know which ones are good, and I just want a bigger deck with bigger cards and bigger everything, and you would be right in some ways and wrong in others. In Slay the Spire, you really have to tailor your run towards what your deck is going for, and usually your strikes and your defense, or your strikes at least when you get into late game, are not as good as they seem. You know, even upgraded for 9 damage, this Doom and Gloom deals 10 for 2, and there's a lot of better defect cards and cards in general that will just deal more damage, and you don't really want them to be clogging up your deck, so using the card removal service is actually pretty good. And you should remove when you can. But I don't think I will on this run because we're having fun. Not to say that winning isn't having fun. Lol. So I think I'll go over these cards and then I'll make my purchase selection. So first off, we have a 2 mana attack, all for 1, which is deal 10 damage and put all 0 cost cards from your discard pile into your hand, and that's for 155 gold. This card is actually really good if you have a lot of 0 cost things in your deck, but sadly we don't. We have a lot of 1s, but not a lot of 0s. But if we were to pick up Beam Cell here, or Turbo, like I had already explained, when we played all for 1, we would draw these cards, which is cool because this is really powerful, because drawing in this game and being able to play cards and then play them again is really, really strong if your deck is tailored towards it. It can also break you though, because 0 cost cards, they do some stuff, but you know, they're not that crazy. We have Aggregate, which is a 1 mana skill, which gains mana for every 6 cards in your draw pile. So if you were, you know, chunking cards into your deck and just throwing the whole garbage can in there and just picking up everything, all the shopkeeper's getting mad at me for being here so long, but we're making an ASMR video, so I don't care. You would gain mana for every 6 cards power card in the game yet. So there are three main types of cards besides status cards. You have attack cards, which deal damage, skill cards, which do some type of defense or effect. In this case, channeling orbs, blocking, whatever. And then you also have power cards. So when you play a power card, it does an effect that stays for the rest of the game. So we would play this card called Hello World for 1 mana, and it's a power. So at the start of each of our turns following us playing this card, we would add a random common card into my hand. So we would pay 1 mana for, any type of common, which are these cards that have the gray border around them. That's a gray border around them. So we also have Dramatic Entrance here, which is a 0 mana attack rare card. Deals 6 damage to all enemies, and it is innate and exhausts. So innate means that you always start with this card in your hand at the beginning of combat. So any card that reads innate will always be in your hand when the game starts. So sometimes there's a really good card that's innate, and you will just always want to have it in your hand, and that's the card that you would, want the innate tag on. And then we have Apotheosis for 2 mana, which is so these are, actually I think I might be mistaken, I think these are commons, I think these are uncommons, and then these are rares. So anything with a gray border is a common card, anything with a light blue border is a uncommon card, and anything with a golden to yellow border is a rare card. So Apotheosis and All for One in this case are rare cards. So Apotheosis is a 2 mana skill which upgrades all of your cards for the rest of combat and is exhausted. So that would mean that all of these cards would be buffed. So strikes would go to 9 damage, blocks would go to 8, block zap would be reduced in mana cost, dual cast would be reduced in mana cost, Cool-Headed would draw 2, Doom and Gloom would get a damage upgrade, Glacier would get a block upgrade, and Chaos would channel us 2 random orbs instead of 1. Now, we would pay 2 mana to have this effect happen, and then the card would be gone from our deck, but I think that's okay, because upgrading 14 unupgraded cards really early on with, no campfires in sight, towards the first boss. We got only elites from here, boys, but I think I'm going to probably pick this up. I'll read to you some of the artifacts just for some good ASMR sounds, but this is probably our purchase choice for 170. This is Bird-Faced Urn, which is whenever you play a power card, heal 2 HP. So whenever we would play a card like Hello World, we would gain 2 HP back. This is Singing Bull. When you add a card into your deck, you may raise your max HP by 2 instead. So this gives you a second option, like that skip that appeared when we saw the cards. That will allow us to raise our 75 up here by 2 instead of picking a card. So we would have 77 max HP if we picked that option. We then have Lee's Waffle, which is upon pickup, raise your max HP by 7 and heal all of your max HP. So this would be a full heal for us, and that would increase our 75 up by 7. We also have some potions down here. A good potion seller. We have Fairy in a Bottle, which is when you would die, heal back to 30% of your max HP instead and discard this potion. We have Attack Potion, which is choose one of 3 random attack cards to add to your hand. It costs 0 this turn. Very similar to our Skill Potion. And we have Gambler's Brew, which is discard any number of cards and then draw that many. So, we're definitely just going to pick up Apotheosis here. Maybe the smart play would be like, remove and then, get some other stuff, but we're just going to go upgrade everything. And we have 2 gold left. And we're going to say goodbye to Mr. Friendly Shopkeeper Man for giving us our nice card for 170 gold, and we're going to go immediately fight an elite. And here we are. So there's 3 of them, and they are sentries. damage. And then, obviously, we'll take these tastes. So I think we probably want to apotheosis here because this is going to be a really long fight. And upgrading all of our cards will, help us in the long run. So this is a long fight. Long fights, you play apotheosis. Here we are, apotheosis. So they are hitting us for a lot, but Zap is free now, so I'm just going to play it. It's just going to channel us one lightning. And then we're probably going to want to conserve our HP as much as we can, so we're just going to defend plus here. And then take quite a bit of damage. Actually only 10, that's not too bad. So, we are going to definitely Glacier here for full. And then I guess just Chaos just to see what we get. Oh, there you go. Look at a Plasma Orb. So Plasma Orbs have a passive that at the start of your turn you gain mana, and when they are evoked you gain 2. Okay. And Plasma Orbs are actually unaffected by focus gains and losses, so it would be actually okay to have a reprogram Plasma deck. That would work. Okay. So we've drawn 2 days because these guys have been putting days into our decks whenever they inflict a negative status effect, and we're taking a lot of heat. We're taking 18 right now, and we only got 2 block up, so we're gonna make that more block. And I think I'll make that even more block, so when we evoke this, we're gonna gain 2 mana back, and we're gonna push 2 of these through, so we'll gain 2 mana and deal 8, and also gain 10 block and 2 frost, which is pretty crazy. So there you go. And then we're gonna hit probably the lowest target with our strike, which was 9 damage. And then this defend will go up. Well, we don't really have to play it, but why not? And then these days, they go away whenever you draw them, but they're in your hand, so they take up space. So they go in this exhausted cards pile. So you can see that apotheosis isn't here because it has the keyword exhaust. You can't upgrade your cards more than once. So you play apotheosis, and all your cards just get upgraded. So we are going to probably double defend here. Actually, we don't need to, but we're just going to go for the lowest HP target because we have orbs up, but we will anyway. Because, we just don't have anything better to do because we're dazed so much. Okay, Zap is always free, so you love a free Zap. Probably Chaos just to push some orbs through, and when we evoke these, we'll be getting some block to try to negate this 18 damage here. Okay, so we got 15 of it up, and we can actually clear 9 of it out by killing this one in the front. Okay, and then we have 1 mana to float, but that's okay, because we're just going to burn these days, and our dark orbs that we generated through Chaos are increasing in passive damage. So we're going to dual cast this lightning orb. We are going to strike the lowest HP target. We're going to defend for as much as we can and only take 1 damage here. And then we're going to let these 2 days burn away. They're gonna hit us. Okay. So Doom and Gloom is pretty good here. And then I think this is actually a kill with Doom and Gloom plus cool-headed because this will deal 18 damage to the lowest HP target. And after dealing 14 to everything, pushing through with the cool-headed will just push this orb through and just give us lethal. So there you go. That's the elite fight down. And we gain 26 gold. And then this time we gain a artifact, just like our starting artifact, which is how we get that 1 lightning at the start of every combat. We are now getting a symbiotic virus at the start of each combat. Channel 1 dark. So same principle as this good old boy right here. We will get 1 lightning and 1 dark. So dark orbs, like I explained, they just build up in power until they're evoked, and then when they're evoked, it's like a bomb. If you've waited long enough. And we will get a lightning and a dark orb at the start now, which is cool. So we have 3 cards here that we haven't seen before. We have a 0 mana skill, uncommon called Chill. Chill is a channel 1 frost for each enemy in combat, and then an exhaust. You can only play it once per combat. We have a power, an uncommon power sapphire, the ruby, and the emerald key to be able to fight it. Otherwise, the game just ends after you fight the third floor boss. So in our case, we're gonna pick up Warpaint, and we're gonna get 2 upgrades. So we upgraded Dual Cast to make it free, and our defense is now up to 8. So that's not bad. I was really hoping it hit Apotheosis because I would have to pay less mana to upgrade everything else, but that's alright. Once again, we're on to a good old Flaming Elite here. So Flaming Elites, they are guaranteed to drop a key, but they get some type of special effect when the game starts. So regen, defense, we'll just have to see. So in this case, he gains 12 block at the end of his turn, which is pretty bonkers, but we'll make it work. So we're going to start by Apotheosis thing for sure, because we just want our whole deck to be upgraded. So Apotheosis, and then we're going to probably just... So he's... What these Z's mean is it's kind of unique to this enemy, but he is asleep. He'll be asleep for 3 turns. And after that, he'll just wake up and start wailing on us. If we break his block and start damaging his HP, he will be stunned and he'll wake up the next turn. And this enemy also will gain 12 block at the end of its turn. So that's the champion elite modifier. So it usually doesn't have metallicize, but since we're fighting a flaming elite, it does. So I think the play here is to probably just break its armor and then to push through with some orbs. Okay. Let's dual cast, and then let's chaos. Okay, good. This mana orb in the back is really lucky, and it's really good. So it only takes 4 metallicize, actually, which is even easier. So, blocked out of my mind. So we're gonna be taking 18, so we're gonna zap, chill this man out, and then we're gonna glacier him. And then we will do a defend strike, and then that's just easy money. That sometimes in Slay the Spire you just get a hand and you're like, I just know what to do, and just send out every card physically possible. You know, I'm just playing my whole hand. So in this case, we totally want a perfect block. So defend, and then our little frost buddies will take care of the rest. We're gonna punch them, and then end our turn. Okay, so we are definitely going to be wanting to push damage here because he is not attacking us this turn. So we're gonna probably chaos just to see what we get. Okay, we got more block and a dark orb. So dark orbs are fine. They're like bombs. We're okay with bombs in the back. Just, you know, I wish I would have had a little something more active, but that's alright. So he inflicted us with a dex down and a strength down, so our block will be decreased and our damage will be decreased from our cards. So this defend will only be gaining a 7 and our strikes will only be dealing 8 instead of 9. So we're going to zap for free because free cards are fun. And we are going to be defending here to try to block as much of this 18 damage as possible, and we're just going to be hitting him for 16. And I think this man is dead with a dual cast because dual cast will deal 18 twice, and then we can just punch him with a good old strike. And we don't even have to worry about the damage. Alright, we're going to take our 31 gold, our artifact, because it was an elite, and this is a molten egg. Whenever you add an attack into your deck, upgrade it. So, I'm going to pick that up. I'm going to pick up this emerald key, and that I got for the reason that I got this emerald key is because it was a flaming elite. So any elite that you find on the map that has a flame around it, it's guaranteed to drop one of the keys. So just cool fun facts. And then this egg, if I read it a bit too fast for you guys, it just, whenever we add a card like Sweeping Beam into our deck, you see how it's already upgraded. Like our dual cast or like our defend, how the text is in green, that means it comes upgraded. So for the rest of this run, any attacks that we pick up, they will just be auto upgraded. Okay, so we have a Sweeping Beam here for 9 instead of a 6. I know we've seen this before, but it's now 9. We have a new power card called Defragment, which is a 1 mana power card which gains you 1 focus. in almost 90% of the cases, gaining 1 focus and improving your orbs, unless you're basing your build around something that's not orb related, and even then, a defrag might still be good. It's just a good pickup because improving your orbs is improving, are almost the core of our deck as it stands. So we're just gonna pick this card up, even though Sleeping Beam is upgraded because defrag is just better. Sorry, Sleeping Beam. Moving on to this normal enemy fight. We have a Spike Slime and a Cultist. He's hitting us for 8. This man's buffing. So our Glacier will take care of that block for us. And now we have good block. And I think I'm going to focus the target in the back because he gets stronger as time goes on. So I think I will... I don't think I really want to draw here because I don't have the mana to play anything unless we draw Duelcast. I think we just want to punch him. We just punched him. And then our block, obviously, will be calculated. Okay, this Duelcast is pretty nuts because this is going to be 12 damage twice. So I think we're just going to do that and see what it hits. Okay, so this man got destroyed. He got that 12 twice, so he took 24. So this Doom and Gloom just won't clean him up. It's 10 to all, and then we're going to get a Dark Orb with it. There you go, there's that Dark Orb. And then he's dealing us for 6, and we only have 4. And then we are, we're getting a little lowish. We're at 45. That's about half-ish. So I think we'll probably just say I can stall you out a little longer, and I'll just defend here. Okay, now we can probably defrag for all of our focus to be gained up. So when I played that card, I know I did it a little fast because I like to play this game fast, but I'll try to take it as slow as I can. The Frost Orbs went up in numbers by 1, so that 2 went to a 3, and then this Dark Orb went from 6 to a 7. So that's what defrag basically does. It improves all of these orbs generation. So I'm gonna chill here because it's free and it's 1 free block. I'm gonna strike here because we need the damage, and then it doesn't really matter. Our block orbs would have done the job. Okay, let's do a chaos here. Actually, probably should have apotheosis, but it doesn't really matter because he's dead no matter what. Because of this lightning orb, but we drew a strike, so we'll kill him a little faster. 14 gold and a card. Okay, we've seen a low world before. We've seen Steam Barrier before, but we haven't seen Echo Form. Echo Form is a power that is ethereal. So ethereal means you have to play it the turn that you draw it, or get it out of your hand somehow. Because if it's in your hand at the end of your turn, the card will just be exhausted. And so exhausted meaning like apotheosis, it goes away forever. So you could have an Echo Form in your deck and you just see it and it kind of just sits there, and then you're like, well, I didn't play it, and then it's gone. And you're like, oh, okay, well, sometimes that's the move, sometimes not. But a really, really strong card, because the first card that you play each turn is played twice. So any of these cards, the first one that we would play, it would be played twice, but the caveat of this card is it's 3 mana. That's all of our mana currently, and we have to play it to get that effect. So in the sake of having fun once again, I think I'm gonna do it just for funsies. So we're gonna pick up that Echo Form, and we're gonna go head on to good that was just evoked. So that's basically saying if you had a lightning orb in the front that was just there, when you played this card, you deal 8 damage, and that lightning orb would pop back up. If you had a lightning orb, then a frost orb in that order, with the frost orb being in the middle, you would play this card. The lightning orb would trigger its effect, and it would go to the middle slot, and the frost orb would go to your first slot. So you have to think about the order in which you channel your orbs when you play a recursion. But it's actually a good card because it goes to 0 mana too when it's free, but you don't want too many, and it's not too great. We have Self-Repair, which is a power card for 1 mana that at the end of combat you heal 7 HP. And then we have Swift Strike Plus, which is a 0 mana attack that deals 9 damage. This is not bad. It's it's like one of our strikes when it's upgraded, and it's just free. Not terrible. I have to explain a little bit about what this X means here and what transmutation does. So, how X cards work in this game is you pay the amount of mana that you have available, and the card will do something depending on how much mana you put into it. So let me explain to you it using transmutation. So let's say I had 3 mana and I played transmutation. It reads, add X random colorless cards into your hand. They cost 0 this turn. Exhaust. So if I put a 3 mana into this card, you can replace that X with a 3. So this would be add 3 random colorless cards into your hand. They cost 0 this turn. Exhaust. So you could put 1 mana into this thing, 2 mana into this thing, 3, 4, 5, 6. If you put 0, you're just burning it, but you can. So that's what X cards does, or what X mana cost cards do. I'll read the artifacts again just for funsies. I don't have the funds for any of them, but it's fun to read. We have a pair, which is upon pickup, raise your max HP by 10, which is just increasing the 75 number up here. We have a bag of preparation, which is at the start of each combat, draw 2 additional cards. And then we have Dolly's Mirror, which is upon pickup, obtain an additional copy of a card in your deck. So this would increase our max HP like 10, like I said. This draws us 2 additional cards at the start of combat, and only on that first turn. Pretty good still though. Dolly's Mirror would let us duplicate one of our cards in our deck. So if we wanted 2 defrags or 2 echo forms when we bought this relic, we would be given a choice of which card to duplicate in our deck, and we would get 2 of it. For potions down here, we have the Power Potion, the Liquid Memories Potion, and the Blessing of Forge Potion. The Power Potion lets us choose one of 3 random power cards to add to our hand, and it will cost 0 this turn. We have Liquid Memories, which I already have up here, but for the sake of reading once again, it lets us choose a card in our discard pile and return it to our hand, and it'll cost 0. And then we have Blessing of the Forge, which is upgrading all of our cards in just our hand for the rest of combat. So like Apotheosis upgrades all of our cards in the rest of our deck, this potion would only upgrade our hand. And then of course, once again, we have the card removal service, which is pretty good if you want to win. So I think the play here for this run is I definitely at this point I have every type of orb generation except for plasma, and it's on sale, so I'm gonna pick this up. And I think that since we're on kind of a low HP amount, and Self-Repair in itself is a good card, I think I'm also gonna pick this up because we can use a little bit of HP generation. And then we're gonna say goodbye to Mr. Shopman and proceed down our path. Hello, Mr. Slaver. You will not enslave me today. I'm going to Apotheosis. I could Apotheosis here. I guess I probably should, because we have Self-Repair in our hand. So I think I'm gonna say we defend, dual cast, and then hopefully wait for Self-Repair to come back around. If not, he might be dead. We are taking 8 here, which means one of our defense will do it. I don't think this is an echo form fight. I do think this is a defrag fight though. status effect. So I think we're just gonna try to push this man with as many orbs as we can. So we are going to zap him, chaos him, and then doom and gloom, and that's just lethal. We pick up 12 gold. We grab a card. We have claw once again, like from the first fight in the game, if you guys can even still remember that. And this one's upgraded because of good old multi-neck, and it will. It's gone up in damage from I think 3 to 5, and I think this number has increased too, but I'm not sure about the latter part of that. We have a new card called Stack, which is a common skill, which is gaining block equal to the number of cards in your discard pile. And then we have a uncommon card called Consume, which is a skill for 2 mana that gains us 2 focus, but we lose 1 orb slot. I think for our deck right now, we don't need any of these cards because Consume, we would lose, I think, well, you know, you could make an argument for Consume because 2 focus isn't that, you know, it's not that bad. And losing 1 orb slot, I mean, what are you gonna do? If I pick up a capacitor, it would be pretty much nullify the effect. But I think as we stand, we generate too many orbs, and I think we would be pushing a bit too much and not have enough, you know, a safety net to fall back on. So I think in this case we're gonna skip. And then we're also going to pass over the weak potion because I think our potions, as they stand, drawing 3 for that extra save, you know, a random skill. This is basically what I'm going to be trying to use for in case of emergency block. And then Liquid Memories is just a good potion because it lets me play a card that I already played for free again. So, pretty good. Okay. I think for the sake of time, you know what, forget it. I'm just going to take the combat. It's already so long at this point that I might as well just let her go. Okay, this man is attacking us for 11, and by man I mean Acid Slime Lord. I'm going to try to get as much defense up as possible, so I will cool at it to start, and then Glacier is like the absolute bog draw. Okay, so I think we are totally covered here. There you go, we did lose Echo Form, but that's okay, I don't think this fight will last that long. Once again, this man is dealing 11 to us. We can totally dual cast one of our orbs, and then we will just, you know, do that. Just for funsies, because my brain is starting to malfunction, which is good. So, Apotheosis here, and then we can self-repair for a little bit of healing at the end of combat, and then we'll chill just to, you know, push our lightning orb, you know, towards the front more so we can deal some damage. We will defrag here to gain us 2 focus because of Apotheosis, that's upgraded. And then we will cool at it here for 2 draw. And I should have drew first because I literally said that earlier in the fucking video. Sorry. Lol. We are going to probably just hit it here because I think it might split. Yep, splitting at 30. So I probably shouldn't have hit, but that's okay because we drew pretty well this turn. So we want to probably dual cast this. Sick, and then take a lot of damage for, you know, no good reason. Just because I got lucky, you know, got unlucky earlier in the run, and then we just get lucky here. So it all works out. And I'm sorry for not calling that fight. My brain just kind of stopped. Okay, I will read these out though. So I've already talked about genetic algorithm, but we have a new card here called Cold Snap, and this is an attack card. That's why it's upgraded as always. It reads deal 9 damage and channel 1 frost. So this is like one of our upgraded strikes, except it has a little frost orb attached, and that's pretty good. And then we have Leap, which is a 1 mana skill, which gains us 9 block. And that's about it. So I think in this case we will pick up Cold Snap because we do need a little bit of damage at this point. I think we've leaned a little too hard into the defensive zone. So I think it's time to look at a little bit offensive, and even then, this is a offensive defensive card because it technically does channel 1 frost. So what are you gonna do? We're gonna skip that potion and we're gonna go to the campfire, and this is the campfire interface. So this is our first campfire for that whole floor. So you know, this way and hit a campfire. That way. We could have actually hit 3 going this path, which would have been cool, but I went for the elite dangerous path, because why not? I think in this case I can handle the boss on 50 HP, so I'm going to upgrade Apotheosis for the sole fact that I don't think I need to upgrade anything else besides it. So, we have Hexaghost here, and on his first turn he gauges your damage, and then he will deal damage equal to what you...
Hello.
One steak and cheese?
I'm all set, thank you.
Fries?
No.
Okay.
He will deal damage equal to what you have in your, and how much damage you dealt him. I'm sorry for the little interruption. I had somebody walk in. Okay. So I think we'll start this fight by chaosing. Oh, a Dark Orb is pretty sick. And then cool-headed. And then chill, just to push a little bit of damage. We push about 20. So he'll deal probably like 4 times 6. Oh, 5 times 6. Yeah. That's fine, I guess. Wow, we're gonna take a lot. Okay, this is the time where potions are pretty good. Just looking through my discard pile really quick. I think we're gonna drink this skill pot for a random free skill. And in this case, I think it might be just a steam barrier, or maybe a white noise for a free power. Maybe get lucky. Let's get lucky. So white noise is a 0 mana skill that reads add a random power card into your hand, and it costs 0 this turn, and then this card is removed from play afterwards. And it costs 0 because I used my skill pot on it. It usually costs 1 mana, but if you upgrade it, it would cost 0. So I played it, and I got a power in return that's also free, because that's just what white noise does. And it gave us loop, which is a power that at the start of our turn triggers the passive ability of your next orb. So this one in this case would gain a passive twice. So we're gonna play it. And I think in this, extreme scenario, I think we're playing Echo Form here. Because I don't think I want anything else right now. And I think we're just gonna take the... What is that? I blocked for 6. So yeah, we're at 24. Okay. We're gonna defrag here. I should defrag twice, which is pretty good. And then we're gonna dual cast that, and then we're gonna Glacier. And then I think we're sitting pretty now just because of that Echo Form. We did take a lot of damage, but like the first card we play each turn is gonna be played twice. So this Doom and Gloom we're gonna get 2 of, and then we're just gonna Cold Snap him. And now we have 2 Dark Orbs generating that deal 14 damage each. And we're going to Apotheosis here. No, because it's gonna play twice. I guess we should just Doom and Gloom and push for more Dark Orbs. And just not worry about the damage right now, because this Frost Orb in the back will probably just save us. And then just Cold Snap him. And now he's at 88, and we fully blocked that turn just from our orbs. Okay, I think it's time to self-repair finally, and then gain our HP back that we lost, and then dual cast for some major damage, and then cool-headed, and then push more damage, because he's not attacking as he's defending, which is what that shield means. And then we're gonna lightning him, and then we're gonna strike him, and then this is only 5, 10, and then we're gonna block to try to get, or actually we didn't get full block. And then he's just 10. And then we get them gold. We get a cool guaranteed rare card. And I think in theme of the deck I already know what card we're gonna take, but I'll tell you guys about it right now. So for 2 mana we have Rainbow, which is a skill that channels 1 lightning, 1 frost, and 1 dark, and is exhausted at the end of combat, so we can only play this once for 2 mana, but we get 3 orbs. Pretty cool. Not too great, but cool. We have T-Strike Plus, so Thunder Strike Plus, which is an attack that deals 9 damage to a random enemy for each lightning channel this combat. Oh, you know what I just realized? This is a Blue Yeti, so I will have to edit out the part where that person came in. Interesting. Okay. I muted myself a different way. This is Thunderstrike Plus, which is an attack that deals 9 damage to a random enemy for each lightning channel in this combat. And then we have Seek, which is a 0 mana skill that puts 1 card from your draw pile into your hand and exhausts. So out of these, I think the best card here is totally seek, because being able to get rid of some draw manipulation is always, always good. But I think in the case where we have one of every orb, might as well pick rainbow just for funsies. Okay. And now we get also a relic as well. So these relics will have downsides, most likely. But will have pretty good effects. So we have gain mana at the start of your turn, and all enemies will start combat with 1 strength. We have, upon pickup, you obtain a unique curse and gain 3 relics. And then we have, at the start of each combat, channel 1 plasma. So this is Philosopher's Stone, our Calling Bell, and Nuclear Battery. So Philosopher's Stone would get us an extra mana that we can use for the rest of the game, but all the enemies that we would fight would start with 1 strength. This would put a curse into our deck that we, can't remove. I've picked this up before, and it's a cursed spell, but it would also give us 3 free random artifacts. So it's it's 1 for 3, but also a downside, you can't get rid of a dead draw. So I think we're gonna just take the Nuclear Battery and somehow after floor 1 start with a full set of orbs turn 1, because Nuclear Battery just channels a plasma at the start. So I think that's what we're gonna do. And we're gonna move on to the next floor, but we're not actually gonna play it because I've been playing this for an hour and 24 minutes, and I think that's enough for the first episode of this, or the first whatever thing I want to call this first ASMR video. Please let me know what I can improve on. I know I had some sound errors and some